So, a flurry of leaks, rumours and speculation has all come to a head, and it seems that an announcement that Disney Plus has won the rights to air and stream the upcoming highly anticipated anime version of the 1,000-year Blood War arc of Bleach is potentially on the horizon after they supposedly defeated Crunchyroll in an intense bidding war. So I apologise for getting to this so late. Unfortunately, it all broke while I was away, but I did see a lot of people discussing it fervently on Reddit, and a lot of people have asked me to weigh in as well, so I'll try my best. But as a Bleach fan, a very long-term Bleach fan, and someone who is very excited for this upcoming anime adaptation, I do have questions, and that's essentially going to be my angle, is that I have questions I would like answering. And those questions are broadly, as a fan and viewer of the series, what does this mean for me? What are my major concerns and how could they possibly be alleviated? And more broadly, what does a move like this mean for the future of Bleach as a franchise? Now, a lot of people reacted extremely negatively to this potential news. I hesitate to call it news until anything official has actually been announced, but a lot of people reacted negatively to this almost immediately, and I get it. Disney's monopoly on entertainment is far-reaching and seemingly only growing by the day as it swallows up more and more beloved IP. But purely for the purposes of this video, we need to scale it back a bit and really think about and consider this from the perspective of Bleach, from that angle alone. And I have to say that I think a lot of the initial discourse I've seen feels a little bit overblown. Now, certainly there are things to be worried about here, and then we'll get into that a little bit later on, but also I think there are always both positive and negatives to a story like this, to a situation like this, and so I want to do my best to break down how I feel. Crucially, we don't know the entire story yet. Disney actively taking an interest in and chasing Bleach feels a little bit surreal, to be honest. It is perhaps the biggest entertainment company in the world, with one of the biggest subscription services in the world as well, sitting at something like 150 million plus subscribers. So for them to take an interest in my favourite manga series feels really weird. It feels really weird, and I imagine that's how a lot of people are feeling as well. Even when it was part of the big three, Bleach always sort of felt like an underdog to me, so seeing it get recognised by a company like Disney in many ways feels a bit cathartic. It feels like Bleach is in some way getting the recognition it has always deserved. Now, whether that recognition is coming from the right place or not is something we can discuss as well. They clearly think that the 1,000-year Blood War arc is going to be huge. They clearly see the metrics, they clearly see the hype, and realise that people are very, very excited about this series returning, an anime that has been gone for about a decade. I think that is really cool, and it's a real sign that excitement for Bleach is being seriously drummed up, and not just among the hardcore existing fans. I would imagine a lot of potential new viewers are looking into Bleach as well as something to get really excited about, and so that seems to me why this series would have caught the eagle eye of Disney. Now, there's absolutely an argument to be made that the vast majority of Disney Plus's 150 million odd subscriber base doesn't watch anime of any kind of description, because there really is no anime at all currently on the Western version of Disney Plus, or at least the UK or European version that I have anyway. And so I think there are genuine concerns there. You certainly get the idea that Disney maybe just wants to get its claws into Bleach because it knows it's going to be big. And if Disney Plus wants to spearhead some kind of anime initiative, Bleach, the 1,000-year Blood War arc, sounds like a great headline act. And so while I certainly don't think you would ever go to Disney Plus now if you were only interested in anime, I do think there is a genuine demographic crossover between something like Bleach and Disney Plus's biggest shows like Marvel and Star Wars. You know, I guarantee a lot of Bleach fans probably like at least one of those as well. I know I do, and I think Disney are probably eyeing up that crossover as well. I think basically, positively and negatively, there are big ramifications here. Like I said, if Disney is planning some kind of a push into the anime streaming industry, then Bleach would act as a wonderful headliner for that. And this could potentially be a very canny move for them. Now, for me, I already have Disney+, so I'm kind of in that privileged position where it wouldn't really matter to me either way in that sense. I could still watch it there. So I think that for them, this feels like the move I think they're trying to make. I think if this is actually what's going down, they've identified Bleach as a series with massive potential and a lot of rabid fans, but also scope for a lot of new prospective viewership as well. If there really was a bidding war between Crunchyroll and Disney, really Crunchyroll didn't ever stand a chance. But also at the same time, I imagine Disney must have fronted a lot of cash to win this license. And I think that says a lot about how much they believe in the series and its resurgent popularity. And it's potentially not necessarily a bad thing to add a new competitor to the anime streaming ecosystem. That being said, there are a number of big concerns about this as well, and there are some concerns that I have too, which we'll get into a little bit later on. The main concern I have is the one I think everybody shares, and we'll talk about that towards the end. The first concern I want to address is the idea that's been floated around. I've seen that people are worried that the 1,000-Year Blood War arc will now be censored due to the fact that it will be arriving potentially on Disney+. And I have to say, I think this is a non-starter. I don't think this is an issue at all. It seems highly unlikely to me for a variety of different reasons. First of all, Disney Plus would only have the rights to distribute the anime, stream the anime. They won't have any kind of say over the production side of things. They won't be able to alter the way the anime looks or anything like that. Obviously, I'm not talking from a position of insider knowledge or anything like that. I'm just a fan, the same as you guys, but I would assume that they would have received international distribution rights from Viz Media, who are pushing the 1,000-Year Blood War arc's anime adaptation as a very manga-faithful adaptation, which I think is what everybody wants to see. And that's what the marketing of this arc has so far been built around. And so, to me, it would be extremely strange if they watered it down when this is supposed to be billed as a mature finale to the series. And also, Disney Plus is not really the kid-friendly streaming platform a lot of people seem to think it is. It has things like The Walking Dead completely unadulterated on there. Disney itself has recently acquired Fox and has said that films like Deadpool 3 will still be rated the exact same as 1 and 2 were as well. And it even relatively recently added that, Stars or something like that, which is an adult programming side of things on Disney Plus. Basically, what I'm trying to get at is, I don't think censorship is a real issue here. I think that they would mostly keep it the same as it's likely going to be. And at least I really hope so anyway, because I think if they did censor the 1,000-Year Blood War arc, you are losing a lot of what makes that arc really special and really memorable. It's crazy. It's gory. Kubo wrote and drew it without having to worry about any kind of anime censorship, because I presume at the time he didn't think it was ever going to come back. So I think to take it away would be a real disservice. Now, I'm not saying it isn't something that Disney would do were they given the chance. I just don't think they will be given that chance. I know people are obviously concerned because of the way Disney have handled some of their most important IP, things like Star Wars. But crucially, Disney does not own the Bleach IP, and presumably, at least for now, never will. Really, I'm only speculating here, but that's all many of us can do. But I think if Disney does have ambitions to become a major player, perhaps in the anime streaming world in the West, they would do well to leave Bleach alone and let it flourish on its own accord. But of course, the biggest issue of all, the biggest concern that people have, is the same one that's genuinely worrying me. Because if they go this route, it could potentially scupper and ruin an anime that we have all been collectively waiting for so long. And that is a lack of a simultaneous release with the Japanese. We don't really have anything to go off here outside of past precedent. But we know that companies like Netflix and Disney Plus as well like to sometimes hold on to anime Rather than releasing them weekly, they will wait until the season is finished before dropping everything all at once. And in my opinion, that would be catastrophic and a huge disaster for the series if that actually happened. Where I said that a lot of the discourse is overblown, and a lot of people jumping to conclusions, I do think that if this was the outcome we got, it would be absolutely terrible. And it would undeniably force people to seek alternative means of watching the series. And that's why maybe I'm putting too much stock in a big faceless corporation, but they just can't be that stupid that they would actually do that. Because the Japanese will be getting Bleach on a weekly basis, presumably, and the rest of the world, who has also been waiting for the 1,000-Year Blood War arc for years and years, is just expected to sit idly by for potentially, Bleach seasons, 20, 24 episodes. We were supposed to wait until the end of that before we actually get to watch it. That seems ridiculous to me, but there is a precedent for it, which is why people are worried. The example that I have seen time and time again is an anime called Summertime Rendering, which I believe is on Disney+, but not actually. It's being kept in what people are calling Disney jail, which is pretty funny. But basically, they are holding on to this anime until a season has finished, presumably, and then they'll release it all at once. But the hype in the West has effectively gone for this anime. The chance to discuss it is over. And that's why I think that they would be fools to do this, but maybe they will. I mean, I don't have exactly a massive amount of faith in a company like Disney, really, at the end of the day. But I do. They can't be that stupid. Maybe I'm going to eat my own words. Maybe I am. But like I said earlier, it seems to me like they are aware of Bleach's popularity, of the enormous potential of the 1,000-Year Blood War arcs anime. It seems to me that's why they have pushed for this, that's why they have chased it, that's why they have put, presumably, so much money where their proverbial mouth is. Because they want to get this series when it comes out, and they would squander all of that if they didn't release it as close as humanly possible to the Japanese releases. I don't think it makes a lot of sense to put Summertime Rendering on the same pedestal as Bleach, because they're not the same. It's not the same contextually. Bleach is going to be huge, and I say that as someone who obviously is a massive fan of the series, but just as someone looking from the outside in, there is masses of excitement, both in Japan and in the West, for this new final arc finally being animated. And so I don't think they are really comparable. It's like comparing apples to oranges. Summertime Rendering and Bleach are two very different things. And at least I would like to believe that Disney Plus would treat Bleach differently in a situation like this, where they get presumably what they want. You would think they would use that to their advantage. I think a really important thing to remember is that releasing something like that, releasing something like Bleach, after an entire season is finished in Japan in this day and age, in this era of connectivity, would be just disastrous. Subscription services, streaming services, they love and they thrive on the discourse, on the chatter, the week-to-week social media discussion that happens around all of their biggest tentpole series. I mean, why do you think Disney releases Marvel and Star Wars shows every single week rather than all at once? Because dropping a series in one go, the Netflix style, removes the capacity for weekly discussion, for build-up, for hype, for building excitement. And I just think that if you do that, if you drop it all at once, you get one discussion and then the series fades into obscurity. It's common sense that by dropping it week by week, you build a discussion, basically. Looking at it from the perspective of my channel, I will not be doing a video for every single episode if an entire season drops at once. It doesn't make any sense to do that. But if they come out weekly, you can bet I'm going to be doing at least a review, if not a little bit more than that, every single week for every single episode, because I'm really excited to sit down and talk about that. So we're going to have to see. For now, I would urge people to be cautiously optimistic. We don't have to put our faith in Disney, but I would like to think that at least some of the executives there are smart enough to realise what they would have in their hands if they do manage to get the 1,000-Year Blood War. And if everything turns out to be true, it certainly seems like they at least realise the potential of what they might have. If they do decide to not release it at the same time as the Japanese, like I said, it would just be a total disaster for the series, and one that I seriously hope doesn't happen. But maybe I am just coping really hard here with the potential reality that we now all face. But hey, we'll see what happens in the future. Maybe there will be some kind of official announcement not too far away from now. But I just thought I would weigh in with my thoughts on the entire Disney Plus debate. There's always positives and negatives to everything. And, you know, I would just urge some kind of caution, basically. Because there's potential here that this does maybe mean good things for Bleach. You know, massive amounts of marketing, loads of money to just pump into the franchise that we all love so much. I'm just holding out hope that it is handled well and with the respect that it deserves. But that's it for this video, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this whole Disney Plus debacle. It's pretty crazy news. Like I said, again, I hesitate to call it news until we know more for sure. But yeah, do let me know in the comments below, guys, what you think. I would love to hear it. But until next time, I guess I will catch you later. And I'll see you then.